All right. Yes, we have time for questions. John, who do we begin with?
Monica.
And can they unmute?
Oh, yeah. Monica. Monica. Oh, well.
And who is after Monica?
How?
Hi, Tara.
Yes, dear
Yes,
one.
dear one.
Oh, we have an echo.
Uh, how is this?
That's better.
So I'm still struggling to let go of struggle. And the whole idea of I can never get what I want. And I'm wondering whether um I didn't do it fully. We talked about this maybe 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, where I had my higher self go to my child and my adolescent and explain to them that there's all this shit coming, but they've done their job. They don't have to stay here. Neither of them decided to stay on Earth, although the adolescent decided to still have friends on Earth and like come back. And I don't know how that works. Anyway, but now I'm still noticing that just the like a mild anxiety, like 1 or 2 out of 10, is often playing in my background. And I would say, oh, it's no big deal, but actually I'm stressed. And um, and then also for bigger things. So I'll kind of give you 2 examples. So I organized Harry Palooza for Harry's birthday. So we had an event kind of every day for 4 days. And Saturday, rather than going out at night, it was to deliver food to elderly poor people in the morning. But we went out Friday night to a wonderful concert, came home late, so I got to bed at midnight. It was supposed to rain for most of the day, so walking Sandy would be difficult because she won't pee or poo in the rain for the most part. And so there's kind of this, even when I had to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, I'm checking to see when does the rain start. And then of course there's this like, okay, I have to get Sandy and Jasper back in time for breakfast, in time to print the list, in time to get out, because we have they're very strict window of when we have to pick up the food, because you're in groups of 15-minute intervals. And it's just this, none of this is a big deal, right? And I'd say, oh, this is no big deal. But I realized like I was like a level 2 stress about everything the whole morning. And and then I snapped at Harry at one point when we were printing out the document, because he couldn't get it to me to print out the day before. And so he tried while I was busy before we had to be out of the house by like 9:25 in the morning. And then he was, and I just said to him, like, you're not doing it right. Just get out. Like, let me do it. And he thought I was being very dismissive. And I realized I spoke to him in a really direct tone because I'm stressed. We have to be out of the house in 5 minutes. And so it's just this, I would say normally it's no, but none of this stuff is any big deal. But then I'm realizing it's because I've lived with it my whole life. And it's always kind of there often, not all the time, but just playing in the background. And then, I last week I put in an order for a Tesla, which I'm very excited about, with its self-driving feature. And I'm super excited about the 1% interest rate I have for 6 years. But before we put in the order, I said to the salesperson, um, my husband and I are leaving out of the country from September 30th until October 14th. And is this going to be an issue? Like, we have to then, I don't want to take delivery before we leave. Um, oh, no, no. And she just assured me everything's fine. Well, of course, it's not fine. Once I put in the order, I said to her, okay, now just confirm, and we got approved for the loan in less than 5 minutes. And so that all went smoothly, but then I'm like, okay, now tell me confirm that it's okay for the delivery for October 15th or after. And she wasn't able to do it. She wasn't able to do it. She wasn't in that. Anyways, and it turns out once the car arrives, if you don't accept it in 72 hours, they'll give it to somebody else, and then you're back in the queue. And the loan is only valid for 60 days. And so, and it's all this stuff. And I'm like, anyway, I've turned it into a struggle. And so I was talking to Jean-Francois about it. And I'm trying to break this habit of I have to be on top of this. I have to push hard. And again, I know it's not really a big deal. It's going to be fine either way, and I'm going to try to let go. But I'm when the meditation happened, there was this band of intense energy between my third and second chakras. Like something big was coming up. And I was trying to talk to Jean-Francois earlier about this, and it was interesting. Like I was telling him about the argument I had with Harry. It wasn't an argument where Harry was criticizing me. And I actually normally I have really great interaction with Jean-Francois when he's coaching me, but I got really mad when just at the idea that when Harry was saying I was dismissive of him, Jean-Francois felt I was. And I'm like, no, I was just being direct. Harry wasn't getting the document printed. We had to get out of the house. He wasn't even on the right document. And there's this anger I have about Harry always needing my help with tech support, even though I've told him I don't want to do it. And I even found him somebody in our neighborhood who would do it for him at a reasonable price who was 2 blocks away. And so if I'm direct, it's just because I want to get it done. But I realize there's all this stress behind it. Anyways, I can't believe how mad I am about all this. As if when I honestly talk about it. And yet my life is moving so smoothly. I finally got emails out about the NFL show to a lawyer who thinks has another lawyer contact who could get me an agent. I emailed the chief of staff of the Ravens finally, and he didn't agree to meet with me, but he literally responded to my email within 3 minutes and said he would be happy to review my proposal. So he totally remembered who I am. He's he's engaged, even though he won't see me face to face yet. So there's all these like I'm doing all these positive things. Getting the car was easy. Ordering it was easy. Like making a decision. Harry gave me no complaints about the money involved, like nothing. He was like, okay, you need a new car. Like, he was like wonderful about it. Anyways, wow. Oh, and yesterday I did this thing um, that Julian and Dolores taught with the roses to clear out the chakras. And normally I'm very focused on healing my fifth chakra and my third chakra, but both of them just seemed to be pretty clear. But like my seventh chakra was completely mucked up. My sixth chakra a little less so. My second chakra was really mucked up. And I finally just kept cleaning them with the roses, cleaning, but then like kind of stopped and exploded the roses and just was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go back and do it again with the second, sixth, and seventh chakras.
Wonderful. So essentially, the message that you're getting is second chakra is very much about pleasure, having fun. And when you're in stress, are you having fun?
No.
And so that's what's missing. That's what the And when you remember to have fun, what is it you have to let go of?
I still have to let go of, I can't get what I want. People don't want to, like the universe wants to punish me. Um, Actually, it's so interesting you're saying this because I've been very intrigued by Donald Trump's Grand Prix race in DC. I mean, it's crazy what he did. He turned the National Mall into a Grand Prix racetrack, shut down the airport, the national airport for his race, and had these Air Force jets, including like this, I think it was like a B-52 bomber or something, like doing loop-de-loops in the air. And of course, all the DC people are disgusted. And Harry thought, he kind of was intrigued and wanted to go because it's free and it's here and he and I will know. And I became intrigued as well because I'm like, Donald Trump is just enjoying the presidency in a way that no president has ever allowed themselves to enjoy it. He's turning the whole presidency into his personal toy. And so we went down yesterday because I'm intrigued about this idea of fun with no boundaries and no restrictions. And there's a part of it I was talking to Patricia Walker about it, where he's like, there's no adolescent boundaries to it. And yet it is intriguing to me that he just doesn't give a shit. And he's like, it's my toy, this presidency, and I'm going to use it to the max to anything that I find fun. And we went and we had a fun time, but I had trouble getting in because of my purse and I didn't want to give up my purse and in the end, because I had the purse and there was all this struggle, we went away for a while. And because of the struggle with the purse, I said to Harry, you know what, why don't we have we can get a wristband and come back in later, in and out whenever we want. And then I think if we come back later, the crowds will be less and we'll be able to see a lot more. And sure enough, we had a fantastic time. And that was the key, was to come back at the back end because most of the crowds left. But it was like me letting go after having that argument with the guy at the security about my purse. And then waiting while Harry went in for 10 minutes where he really couldn't see anything and he struggled because the crowds were too big. And then I was like calming down. I'm like, I'm going to allow myself to have fun. And then we went away to the Smithsonian virtual reality experience about space and had an amazing time. And they had lockers and they were fine with us using the lockers, even if we had to come back overnight. And they were so nice about letting me use the locker. And we just left our stuff there, went back. The crowds were gone. We were like right at the fence where we could see the cars because it's not a normal racetrack. We were only like 20 feet away. Normally, you're like, you know, yards and yards, like you're really far away. We were like so far, so close to the cars. And it was about fun, but I had to let go first.
Beautiful. Yeah, so in that experience, you're beginning to understand, oh, when the struggle's occurring, it's because I think it should be a certain way, or I'm convinced it has to be a certain way, and I forget to work my magic. And then when I remember, oh, what do I want instead? Then that opens up new ideas. So out of having to take a pause, you had you got the download. Oh, what if we just get a wristband? It'll give us more freedom. It will add to our fun. So as you set down the way you think it should be and just pause and relax, then the new ideas come. Oh, okay, maybe I'll just check and make sure that Harry is not having problems for no reason. And when you find he's not printing the correct document, well, it's a good thing you were paying attention. But to do that without getting upset or stressed is the key. So for you, yes, it was effective. Yes, it stopped the energy in its tracks, and then you resumed with new intention. But as you take full responsibility, okay, I'm allowing a reality where Harry persists in a certain way so that I can feel a feeling, or so that I can immerse myself in my pattern so that I can finally set it down. I can evaluate, do I want to keep this pattern or do I want to replace it with something new? So that's the magician's work of looking at everything as this is my illusion. And it's not there for no reason, it's for me. However, when you're in the illusion, experiencing it, as you should do, you can't only be on the sidelines. You can't only be stepped out and detached. Otherwise, what's the point? You're here to be physical. You're here to enjoy the ride, so to speak. You are intended to be engaged, and to be engaged for longer periods, and at the same time building that ability to be reflective. So it's as though you have two streams of energy going at any given time. You're acting as if, and you're assessing, is this what I want? Is this most optimal? Is there something new coming in on the horizon? Does that help?
Yes, but I am, the one thing I am doing is when I go through that loop, whether it's with the purse at the Grand Prix or with Tesla with the art, horrible experience I had today with them. I see, oh, it's that fear. I'm not going to get what I want. I'm not going to get what I want. And so I still am, I continue to ask my higher self, okay, um, take the shame away. That's what you've coached me to do before. But is there something that I didn't heal? Or is this just now like I've just got to catch myself and behave differently in the moment now that I'm healing this lifetime habit?
Yes. So the lifetime habit is the answer. So because it's a habit, because it's where you go first. So one of the things that you commend yourself on perhaps is always being able to assess where the dangers lie, where the problems are going to occur, and to be proactive in problem solving. So
Right. That's what I did with the car.
yes. So that's really wonderful, except nobody's listening to you because you already know the problems that are coming, but they haven't even thought of them yet. And so they don't even hear you.
Yes, the
And
Tesla guy was not hearing me. I was crazy.
yes. So, but that's the pattern. That's a wonderful skill that you built. You're never going to lose that skill. However, it needs to be superseded with, how do I want to create this? Am I willing to receive what I want in the future with harm to none, with elegance and ease? And then as things show up, deal with them. So by being so proactive, you've already decided what reality you're going to get. Now, one could call that intuition. Well, I'm getting these images. I'm getting this information that this is the way it is. These are the things I need to be aware of. This is where I need to be careful. And that is, on the one hand, true. But that is also part of the pattern of things go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is the only way I can avoid them telling me I'm not going to get what I want. So you see, if it's still tied to an expectation of I'm not going to get what I want, or or it's tied to I'll be disappointed, or I'll be rejected, or whatever it is, then that is the predominant energy. And so you want to be problem solving, not from a place of anticipating problems and fixing them into a state of being that doesn't serve you. But if you're problem solving in the context of, because I'm here to have fun, which you experienced right after when you got the idea for the wristband, and no, I really do want to be a part of this event. That was the highest priority. Suddenly new solutions showed up. So the purse, holding on to the purse, keeping it in your care, you did not know it was going to be a problem. Normally you can just come and go, they look in and then they let you go. You didn't know it would be a limiting factor. When it became a problem, you also understood, no, there's got to be another solution than what they're telling me. And as you detached and took that time, you did create a different reality, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you weren't locked into their reality, or the one that came at you that you had to react to initially, which caused the arguments. This is going to be a problem. I can see how this will be a problem for me. So no, I'm not going to do it. Now that's a gut level instinctual reaction. That's not you creating your own reality. So by detaching from that, saying that's not what I want, it did open you up to something new that was even better. And that is attested to your realizing, no, this could be really fun. I just don't want to comply with what they require there. I'm going to need a different route. And it all worked out. And it often does. But as you're asking what is the source of the struggle, we would suggest that it is the survival strategy. That when all else fails, how will you guarantee a result? Well, I'll just struggle. I'll be the problem solver. I'll be the fixer. I'll be the tech support. I'll be the helper. All of that is all part of struggle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so instead of Helen deciding, I'm the magician, I'm going to have fun, which is part of more of your new image that you are creating. Not, those weren't the words you picked, but they are part of the qualities, aren't they?
Yeah.
To experience reality more magically, to have an idea and then to have it manifest. So the Tesla is a wonderful example. Wow, I just decided what would be most elegant, and wow, we're creating it. How wonderful. And so now as you got into the buying process, you realized, oh, I actually have requirements. I'm going to be traveling. I'm not going to be here to receive the car if it happens to land during that window. But that wasn't something you even thought about before you sat down. Not really. You just figured you could just set your delivery date, which in the best of all possible worlds would make sense, wouldn't it? That if you get to order your car, you should be able to say when it's going to be delivered.
Yeah. Yes, and I also asked before we ordered it, and she, oh yeah, that shouldn't be a problem, and of course she's not in the delivery department, so yeah.
Yes.
But it seems more, and I guess with the car, the complexity is I am really attached to this idea of the 1% interest rate for 6 years because it's basically free money, almost free money. And so it's that I know I can get the car. I can get the car at any time. I just want the car with that 1% or even better 0% interest, which they're not offering right now. And so that's what's hooked me. That's what's and I can feel that little girl within me like if we weren't traveling, it would be no big deal. This would be a no-brainer, but we've had this trip scheduled for 6 months and we have to go on these dates. And so uh I mean, as I'm explaining it to you, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the perfect, I feel like my higher self is lining this up to heal this pattern of mine because it's a much bigger hook for me. Um, I have to believe in my magic at a much higher, a bigger level, I guess.
Yes, because as you really let in that you create all the little details, not consciously, but they're manifesting as a representation of your raw materials, your beliefs, your attitudes, your choices, decisions, and your thoughts and your feelings. So as you are identifying what you don't want anymore, which is the struggle, but the struggle is essential to the lesser self. It's essential to surviving any situation. And so as you begin to really let that in, oh, this was so necessary to my child and my adolescent that my lesser self is really kicking up a fuss here around getting rid of it. So instead of addressing it head on as we're just going to delete struggle, you have to begin negotiation. Okay, when I'm in a more connected place, when I'm in me the more, what's possible? Well, the struggle just disappears. The need for struggle disappears because what takes its place as you begin to let it, oh, well, I have better ideas. The idea for the wristbands showed up. That made it possible to then go to the Smithsonian. Oh my gosh, they have lockers there and I can come and go when I please. And all these freedoms showed up that came from being connected and looking for a better solution, something that you the more was in alignment with. The lesser self had two choices with the purse issue: give in or reject. Those were the two choices.
Mm.
So you rejected, which on the positive side bought you some time to let you the more step in. It could have ended in you rejected what they wanted and then you just went home. There was a time in your life where that's what would have played out. And then you would have felt sorry for yourself, or you would have been in martyrhood about how it was their fault that you didn't get to go have the fun. But that wasn't where you went this time. You decided there's got to be a way we can still have the fun. And we can have it be more elegant. We can have it all. We can have it all. That's a different place of creating reality than the black and white adolescent reality that could have been triggered. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you really let that in and congratulate yourself, yeah, you couldn't know that you were going to get triggered. And yet it popped up for your benefit. How do you want to look at this? Do you want to deal with it from the adolescent, or do you want to step into you the more and really look at what would benefit you and Harry? Because you could tell Harry really wanted to be able to experience it, and he wasn't going to get that because of the crowds. And so therefore, as you reached for a more loving reality, it presented itself. And you recognized it because of the love. Now, with the car, it can be the same thing. So the old you would need to micromanage the salesperson.
Which I started to do today and got nowhere.
Yes. So, but as you can understand, okay, but I'm disappointed with myself because it was almost as though all my fears were then validated. And then it put a huge risk at, am I even going to get this car, or am I going to create the reality where I get put on a wait list for an indefinite amount of time? So as you just pull that back in, no, that's the illusion. That's the old script. I don't need to play that out. I can go have my holiday and I can get the call that the car will be delivered in a day or two when I get back.
Well, and what would be even better, so the insurance company, I can get a rental car for until the end of the year paid for. And so I don't actually care when the car comes. I'm fixated on this low interest rate, and it's only valid for 60 days and then you lose it. And then you have to get the offer that's available at the time. What would actually be even more magical is if, like for Labor Day, let's say, they got it down to 0% for 72 months. Then I'm allowed, I think, to invalidate my financing offer and ask for the 0%. And then it doesn't matter because then it would push the delivery back for 2 weeks. That would be even better. It's
Wonderful.
it's the interest rate that's got me hooked. And for Labor Day, I'd like it to be 0%. That's what I want.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And so just keep asking for it.
Okay. And with regard to this fun, I am intrigued about Trump. Like Patricia Walker and I were having this conversation where there's no dignity in what he's doing, the wrestling at the White House and that is true. But like, one of the wonderful things about the Grand Prix yesterday is I met like this one couple from Western North Carolina. They had never been to DC before and they wouldn't have come, but they're car racing fanatics and they came for the car race and then they got to see DC. Like whenever I've gone to these MAGA events, I spent the whole first half of the day on January 6th on the mall with the MAGA people who then turned into the mob that stormed the Capitol. But most of them were not those storm the Capitol people. And again, it was wonderful to see people in DC on the mall enjoying Washington that would never normally ever, ever, ever be here from all over the country. And um, I know it's not dignified to use the US government as your personal toy, but there's something really I like about it. Although for our entrance, the entrance we were required to use for the tickets that we had to go past the Department of Justice, and he has this banner of himself. And it's literally like out of a George Orwell novel. It's completely creepy. And it's no president ever has a banner of their face on the Department of Justice. And then with this slogan of like making America safer or something. So there's a sort of just juxtaposition of the fun and the fun of the event that he created, but also this creepy Orwellian flag of his face and name on the side of the Department of Justice. But there's a part of me that thinks it's wonderful that he's doing fun things and not just taking it so seriously.
Yes. And so as you yourself look at, okay, there are these, there's more than two ways, but there's two obvious ways. There's the reaching for more fun, or there's the reaching for more control.
Mhm.
That's what's being reflected back. So
Mm.
the control part would be the buying into the fear, whatever the fear is, that you're not going to get what you want, that you're not loved well enough, or whatever is at the core of the I'm not going to get what I want. And that's the fear, that's the control that justifies the need to control reality. Whereas having the fun has many more benefits than the event itself. So what you experienced was the communication and the community that it builds, the exposure to DC. Not unless you plan a trip, if you don't live there, unless you plan a trip to go visit DC as a tourist. If you're not part of the government, you don't really have a reason to go there. You have to go there by choice. And so, how wonderful that all this attention is being put on DC right now. So, from a luminous standpoint of wanting DC to have more accessibility to the rest of the country, have the people come and experience how special it is, because it is. To experience the beauty and the goodness and the truth that is embedded in the mall, in the different monuments, in the different buildings that represent Congress and all of the Justice Department, that sort of thing. As you radiate your love and your intention for there to be more light around your environment, it becomes an attractor. And when you allow it to be fun, then the fun can be the driver, you see. The fun can bring all of those benefits of goodness, truth, and beauty. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you, Tara.
So you get both, you get to see what do both look like. And as you've already chosen, well, I'm much more interested in the fun. And now to go about creating that really means answering the fears of the lesser self. And the way you answer is that you, the more, steps in and says, no, we have a different way to safety through connection. All right. We love you so.
Thank you, Tara.
Yeah. And so as you look at, do I need the struggle? Well, I did need it. Do I need it now? No, I don't really need it now. I can create something different, something new. All right, wonderful. All right,
Thank
John,
you.
who is next?
Monica. Hey,
Hi, Tara, beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, and Katrina. Thank you, beautiful Tara, for being here with us.
Yes, dear one.
With the
Where do we
smartest-
begin?
Yes, Mr. Tara. As I speak to you in the Earth plane, right, planet Earth, and we have sensitive issues in this planet, and as we know that pop is the truth. I just want to say that on the previous caller that this is not a government fight or anything to do with anything. This is just a conversation about lessons. And I will need to say that. Concerning myself, it's reality here that the significant other now, he is, you should see what he's going through. He is got in a lot of situations taking care of with a lot of people. I feel very, not very pleased that he had a lot of people come after him to, and you know, ma'am, beautiful Tara, and he's going through it, and I'm just hoping that it's already coming to an end as fast as it can be, because I'm trying to get into his world, and he cries for I and all the beautiful stuff, and I'm honored to have him and found him through hard, very true. Now I'm wishing that this speeds up and finishes it. I myself had to deal with a lot of people. I took care of it. They could be ugly. I'm a peacemaker. Don't try to make nobody angry, anything like that. Just all that I can say is behave and be a good person, be a good citizen, and let the economy run, right? And we all answer to something after the body shuts down. Going back to him, what can I do to support? I do know the answer. I can do it. I have. Just asking for clarity.
All right. Yeah.
Whatever.
So what we're hearing is that your priority is the relationship. Is that true?
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah. So in the context of creating your own reality, as far as allowing someone to be more real in your reality, there is that sense of, okay, they are an illusion, but then they are also a soul having a physical experience. And our souls have come together with purpose. Our souls have come together in love. And love is many definitions and is a state of being as much as it is an emotion. And so as you create your reality and your relationship from the standpoint of being in love, stepping into the resonance of love and allowing that love to change you. So as loving as you are, you can also be more. You can grow, you can expand. And so that's the love you're looking for. You're looking for, and you have identified, we believe, when we hear you say, this is my significant other, you have identified someone who you feel safe to grow with. And so as you let that impact be felt, even in advance of being fully together, as you allow that idea of the love to change you, to have the courage to make changes within yourself that you might have been waiting and seeing. Well, I think I'll just play it safe. Maybe I won't say what I think, or maybe I'll just make him do what I want instead of being available to talk about what do we want. So as you look to see what is your nature and what are your patterns, when you step into love, the need for those old patterns falls away. Just as we were speaking with Helen, the need for the old struggle isn't there anymore. Doesn't mean that the struggle doesn't pop up as a possible solution, but she doesn't have to accept it. You don't have to accept whatever the fear around love tells you. And so we've already sensed within you a big shift around this, that you are confident, that you are willing, and that you are open. And so as you continue to dream your dream and understand what you're dreaming is not getting what you want, but being who you want. There's a big difference. And it changes the reality as you change your resonance. Does that help?
Yes, change the reality with the resonance. So
Yeah.
I am very blessed to find him, very blessed his bravery, and I am doing my best to help with the situation, and I'm working the backstone with it. And I just hoping that it gets done already faster, and it's gonna be after I come in, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check everything there is, and it's gonna go to more channels. Yes, people need to know how to behave, and safety. A life is a life. A human body is a human body, and respecting the environment, food, water, safety, and quit blaming. Like there's humans in this airplane that they blame other people's way it should be. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. They don't look upon themselves. Hey, I need to step back. I don't want to create a situation. Think back. No one in the airplane needs to hurt each other or be ugly to each other. It's just too much going on, too much chatter in the brain. I guess what I'll ask you is that I'm really hoping, Tara, that the protecting the environment species, the endangered ones, don't get hurt by this crazy outburst of technology where it's going to drive people more crazy. I want just an
So
input.
the more you imagine the bad things that will happen, the more evidence you gather that that's what will happen. So you want to counteract the imagining of what you don't want, even as your perceptions are on track and all of that as far as your reality goes. Yes, this is what I read about, this is what I see, this is what I'm afraid will happen. I'm aware. You still have the choice to imagine something new. What would you want to imagine instead? What if there was an antidote? What if there were a solution? Even if you, in the absence of the solution, what if it could, something could intercede, new ideas, new technology, new streams of income, whatever it is. You don't need to know what it will be that makes the change. Your job is to imagine, what do you want instead? So if the solutions were to come, then how do you create, what would you create as a win-win-win, where there's some elevated solution so that there is a creative output that has benefit. So it's easy, and this is where it's simple, we would like to say, to just say, don't do it. Where somebody wants to create something, all the problems are identified of what if you do this, then all these problems will happen. And then the answer just becomes, well, then don't do it. But that's not enough, because you are creative beings. You are here to create something new. So you always have to answer what you don't want with what would you want instead? If I had all that energy, all those resources to put into creating something new, what might it look like? What would create a more optimal reality? And that is showing up and being creative. Does that make sense? Doesn't have to be even about what you don't want. Meaning, if you're focused on, oh, they're going to build these data centers, it's going to cause so much harm to the environment. We're not saying that it necessarily will. They're being challenged. Hey, if you do it this way, it will cause harm. How about you get creative and create it differently? So as you come up with new solutions that you bring in from the future that don't exist yet, it's your dreaming that makes the difference. It's your imagining that makes the difference. It adds to the illusion that you are a part of. So what looked like a way to create a solution now has too many problems associated with it. It's still going to be creative, but maybe there's going to be a more efficient form. Maybe in your imagination, you can create a different vehicle that gets even a better result than what they have right now. So you dream the people having the ideas, you dream the money that funds it coming in to support new solutions. You create the land participating by giving a yes, by, oh, there's a lot fewer problems with this new way. Does that make sense?
Beautiful, Tara. As I was looking at future, the new data center will be turning to solar power. That is a solution. That's what I have the ability to ask the Earth consciousness, and my head is right now. It's really hot. It's very beautiful
So
what you said.
it is one, and as you energize that and say this or something better, because there are new things coming from the future. Be open to your imagination. You are being gifted with futures that you hadn't yet been willing to imagine. But you have evolved, you are changing, you are growing, and you are expanding. And so with that comes gifts from your optimal future self, gifts from your light shadow. So in the context of your idea, this or something better. Does that help?
Yes. It's very beautiful. And one quick last thing, Tara, is that I have found my significant other. He is present, and I am grateful and blessed that the universe brought him as he clears. It's just, I want to say thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Love you,
Beautiful.
Tara.
We
You're
love
the
you
best.
so.
Humans love you. We love you. Thank you. Thank you, Tara.
Wonderful. And we feel your love. And thank you for it. All right, John, who is next?
Henry.
All right. Yes, dear one.
Henry. There you are. You've got your mic, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear
Yeah.
you.
There was something wrong.
And so
Thank
where do
you.
we begin?
Well, thank you for being here again and talking with me. I think everything this week has been about belonging and connection, and the meditation was very interesting in that what I was feeling it was about really was just that I do have connections when I'm doing things that feel very encompassing, and just I feel so kind of a part of it. I mean, today I went to a coffee shop that I go to usually every Monday afternoon anyway, and there was a celebration march playing on the music, and the fellow there said, there's the march for Henry. Welcome, Henry. Oh, I'm so glad you came, because they closed at 3, and I just had this wonderful thing. And at the dance and movement classes, people, when I was late the other day, and people were saying, "Oh, so glad you made it," or "so glad that you're here," and at the open mics, people are being so. And just feeling so part of it. And then at other times, and that's a mystery in a way. So much at other times, I'm feeling not, and just feeling separate from that. And I went to I went to a snuggle lab on Saturday, which suddenly popped up, which is where you go to connect and snuggle with people you don't know. and the beginning part of it was, I mean, it's so much a part of, my wounding, and so much of the peacemaker thing, which is practicing saying no, and practicing saying yes, and practicing asking for what you want. And so that was sort of fascinating. And the problem was that in those situations, sometimes in that sort of place, I can't hear terribly well, just because of but I was asking people, okay, so what are we doing at this point? And then I did get to hug with some people and get quite close, and in different ways. And then I started to feel that I wasn't really part of it in a way, and that people were connecting more kind of without me, and I started to get into that down place of and thinking, well, you know where you are, you can let it change, and it didn't quite. I didn't really get there, but it was a very interesting experience. And with the naturalization and the green card, I found that the library, the LA library, I mean, I have somebody I was talking to who will help me fill in the forms and look at what is there, and whether it's a good idea to apply or not, whether I really. and they will represent me at the interview, and so that was a wonderful thing, and it just towards the end, we started talking about the money thing, and we were talking about the money last week, and I was in this place of, you know, I know that if I'm in the right place, that this doesn't have to be a problem. And I was just thinking, well, I'm not in the right place, am I? I haven't done the forgiveness well enough over having problems with the forgiveness that I've been doing this week, and the integrity, and just feeling I'm not able to get there, so I mean, again, that's what we've been talking about, isn't it? The looking in that way.
Yeah. So you're very aware when the pattern shows up.
Yeah.
And you even have the next thought, which is, I could probably do this differently.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is a beautiful recognition that, oh, I'm halting the pattern. I don't necessarily get 100% back into the joy that I was in before something happened, something got triggered and shut me down. But I didn't get shut down for no reason. I got shut down because I get too vulnerable or I get too expanded, and then the old stuff pops up. So we're not saying too expanded. You're thinking it's too expanded. What's actually happening is you're beautifully opening to the love. And then what's not a resonant match pops up, which is the old withholding or withdrawing or trying to be safe, less vulnerable, less intimate, going into a defensive pose. So what you're experiencing is, oh, I see myself doing that. But in the pattern, it's often hard to not believe the thoughts you're having. So the thought that, oh, I don't really belong here, or, oh, I don't really know how to fit in, or they don't really like me, oh, they're just tolerating me, or whatever it is that pops up.
Right.
But that's the old dialogue from the adolescent or from the child that justifies the shutting down. So as you see it as, oh, okay, so what I'm really wanting is to stay in the expanded state, but in order to do so, me the more has to bring a new solution of how to be safe in the intimacy. And we would suggest that where it comes is in connection, knowing your higher self is with you, knowing that you're being guided to connect with people, knowing that you're creating the opportunities. How fun is that? A snuggle event. How creative you're being at, I want to have more love in my life. I want to have more intimacy. I want to have more caring. And here you are, dance and movement and snuggling and hugging, and you're connecting and you're creating more and more opportunities when you compare to a few years ago, where how are you ever going to change? And here you have.
Right.
And so this is just that last bit of pattern popping up, which is always there by choice. See, it's not that you, as you grow, as you expand, you create more choice. So at a certain point, it won't occur to you to pick up the old stuff. But for now, the old stuff's popping up to remind you, this is the choice I used to make. Do I still want to keep this? Does it still serve me? Does it have value?
Yes.
And just as Helen had a moment of with the purse, she had to detach from the event in order for new information to come. We would suggest that's similar for you. In the snuggling event, there was a moment where you had to detach and go within for a moment to do a self-check. Is this what I want? Am I having fun? Do I want more of this? Does that make sense? Because it requires you to be more vulnerable. So if there's a part of you that says, this is a bit too vulnerable, I don't really know these people, that's a possibility. We're not saying that's what happened, but it's a possibility. The other side is I'm really enjoying being this open and this vulnerable, and I don't know how I'm going to build on it. It's an unknown. It's in the unknown. And so part of that can create the lesser self showing up. Oh, well, if you're uncomfortable with the unknown, stay with me. We'll just do what we always do. We'll just shut down.
Right.
Does that make
Well,
sense?
yes, and what very much about the forgiveness that what I've been saying, that I guess I've always known about the forgiveness thing is if I forgive myself for not taking action, for not doing this, for not doing that, then I have no control over what I'll do. I could just go completely crazy, and especially at a snuggle event. But at the same time, it was also in my mind, well, but this is all about, asking for what you want, and and knowing if they say no, it's just because they don't want it, or asking, if somebody asks me, if I can say yes or no, and a lot of the old stuff was still obviously there, but yeah, it's the kind of core of the wounding with the forgiveness and with the integrity, with telling the truth, which is what I've been trying to work with this week, and just finding a lot of resistance to. So how am I ever going to do that, even though I'm doing the meditations, and it just seems so such an immovable place.
So we'll give you a clue there.
Yes.
So the natural sort of expectation is, well, I haven't been telling the truth, but I know what the truth is. So I'll just speak it. However, there's that knowing that if I speak it, it's dangerous. It's going to have impact. And it's an unknown quantity. I don't know if it's going to be positive or negative. And we would suggest that instead of just blurting out the truth, put yourself first into a loving space, meaning receive the love that you require, so that when you share what is on your mind and in your heart, it is coming from love. It is a caring expression. Because you see, you do require yourself to be loving. And up until now, telling the truth has not been loving. Telling the truth has been harmful or has had negative impact. And so why bother? Because you're all about being loving. And if people are upset with you, then, well, that's not working. And so at the moment, we don't recommend that you just go out and blurt your truths to everybody. Yeah. You could and test it, but you would want to do it in a very measured way, because you still have the belief running, telling the truth is dangerous, or telling the truth is harmful, or telling the truth ruins everything, or whatever it is, however it plays out for you. And so with that belief there, you want to negotiate with your higher self. Hey, higher self, can you suspend that belief, and I'll put myself into a loving space, and I'll see if I feel comfortable telling the truth. And what you'll notice is, as you do that, you don't have to share right away. But by listening for the love first, you're going to find that when you do share, it has really good impact. It has better than expected impact.
Right. When you say listening for the love,
You listening, am I in a loving place? Am I feeling connected? Am I whole and complete? Because if you share from a place of they have to listen to me, they
yeah.
have to do what I say. We're not saying that's the way you're communicating, but when you say I have to tell the truth, well, what's scary about telling the truth? What's the negative outcome you're expecting? And then you have to look to see, wait a minute, could I be communicating that differently? So some of you have done communication courses and you were taught never tell the person, you make me so angry, or you hurt me. You have to say it in a different way so that it's not as triggering. And this is a wonderful thing to learn. You know, when you said that, I really felt hurt. And I don't want to feel hurt. And that gives the other person the opportunity to say, well, I didn't intend to hurt you. Or, oh, what's the hurt about? So you see, it furthers communication. Whereas if you just blurt out, you hurt me, there is no opening. There is no communication. It's one way. It's a form of blame or shame. So as you have learned communication skills and learning to reference the I part, I take responsibility. I have allowed myself to feel hurt by the words that you're saying. I wonder what that's about. I wonder why I'm getting triggered into hurt. Now, you don't have to share that. If the person's someone you're vulnerable with, then you might share that. But otherwise, it's really just for your benefit. Whether or not you share that you were hurt by what you heard them say, it depends on how vulnerable you want to be with them. But it is for you, the illusion is for you to grow from. And it changes the nature of emotions. It allows you to have the full range of emotion without the burden of needing to express it at somebody. And that creates safety, you see. Because you will express it, but you might choose to express it in meditation. You might choose to sit with higher self. You might choose to sit with their higher self present while you tell them what you felt. So that you can start seeing, oh, wow, I got triggered into hurt. I wonder, that is really familiar. I can remember when that happened the last time, and the time before that, and the time before. Oh, I've been keeping track of when I get hurt. I clearly have an agenda. I have a plan for this hurt. So then you become more self-aware. You become more self-conscious, able to be conscious of, is this how I want to feel? Is this the only way to feel? So when you're in a pattern, it gets triggered automatically, and the emotions and the thoughts and the attitudes and the beliefs and the choices and the decision, they're all in alignment. And that's why you get triggered, and it just is whatever it is. And then you have to step back and possibly apologize, because they weren't the cause of that original pattern, but they are now the trigger. And so rather than getting mad at the trigger, you want to step back and go back into your grace, into your being gracious and grateful. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to be triggered, but they did trigger me, and it really has nothing to do with them. They are the illusion. And I can see that now. As you did, Henry, you noticed, I'm pulling back. I'm thinking these thoughts. I'm feeling these emotions. And I can tell this is what I do. And what a freeing thought that is, because if it's something you do, you can change it. Maybe not instantly. Maybe you have to sit with your higher self and connect and look for, well, what else is possible? This is all I've known. And what is it I'm longing for that I'm not getting, that I feel cheated out of? That's so important. To reach for the longing heals so very much inside of you because you begin to recognize what matters to you. It matters whether I feel love. It matters if I have intimacy. It matters to me if I feel comfortable connecting and being close to somebody. Does that help?
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting you talk about hurt because I've never thought of it as hurt. I've never thought of hurt, and now I'm getting a sense of if I feel somebody is more interested in what somebody else is saying, um, that I can turn that into a sense of hurt and think, oh well, I shouldn't really be saying things because they're not really. Oh, I mean that's a whole new thought about hurt. But then you were saying to say that to someone, but I mean I'm not thinking that it's something that I haven't been thinking it's something that they're
And it's not
doing to me.
necessarily hurt, but it could be. As you say,
Yeah.
when somebody turns away from you, it's a form of rejection. And what do you feel when you feel rejected? Well, some people could feel sad, some people could feel hurt, some people could feel angry or depressed or despair or hopeless. It just depends on the individual situation. So we don't mean to say, look only to hurt, but if it's there, what a freeing thought to know that that's what you're dealing with.
But
Oh,
isn't it?
I hadn't thought of it in those terms. What is possible if you know what you're dealing with? Then you can change it. Or you can go back to the earliest moments and realize, oh my gosh, my little boy is suffering. I thought he was just angry. Maybe there was more going on. And we're not saying it was hurt, but it could be.
Hmm. Yeah, I have to consider that. But but then in the just coming back to the citizenship thing, where I get to the point of what am I going to say about the money, which about I mean about having not necessarily paid the taxes that I should have in the past.
So
That
so is this in the context of what you know they will ask you or what you have to supply, the information you
well,
have to supply, or is this in your imagination?
no, the
We
person.
just want a reality check on how
Yeah.
much of this is factual and how much of it is presupposing future problems.
Well, the expert today from the library, who my representative, um, was taking me through the questions, the basic question on the form, and one of them was about have there been times when you haven't uh, paid, I can't remember the question quite, but uh, haven't paid the required tax and and things like that. And I mean, I had to say that there have been times when my accountant said, I mean, this was an elderly lady who was really, in many ways, I think, just wanting to do an easy do an easy thing. But when she had said, well, you don't bother about the pension, don't bother about mentioning it, and those sort of things, which caused a whole delay in me being able to get Social Security. And so then I had to find an expert who would help me get Social Security later than the time, and the things that were said were not necessarily completely along the lines, and so it's so I'm
So what's
thinking,
important here? Absolutely, your character, your integrity, your honesty are important. They're relevant and they're coming up for review for you.
right,
Okay,
right,
how well am I doing in this area? As a reality creator, assuming that yes, I am committed to having these qualities be a part of who I am, what reality is possible? What's the future you envisioned? So at the moment, what we're hearing is I don't get to have the future I want if I add character and integrity and honesty back in. And we want you to confront that.
yes.
Is that really true, or can I dream it differently? Because these qualities are important to me. They're essential to my goodness and my truth and my beauty. And so I want to be in alignment. And I want to be able to create more of what I want, not less. So right now you're up against either I get to be honest or I get what I want. Instead of when I am honest, I'm aligned with my goodness, my truth, my beauty, and therefore I create more magical realities. So you're not there yet, but as you confront the compromise that was made and you start looking at, well, who told me or who taught me? And it could be just society taught me, or it could be father taught me or mother taught me or sibling or teacher or whoever, or priest, whoever taught you. Honesty has a cost. You'll never get what you want if you're honest. It probably wasn't said that blatantly. It was probably more like an instance where you did say something honestly, and then you didn't get what you wanted, and you collapse the two. Oh, I should have never said what I said. Then they would have picked me.
Or that's the core of the wounding, which is that I
Yes.
said what I wanted to do, and I thought my mother reacted in this incredibly dramatic way.
And had you
By
never said anything,
if I hadn't,
you might have
yes,
avoided your wounding. Well, we assure you, you could not have, but it might have been
no,
a
no,
different wounding, but it would have still been a wounding.
yes,
But the adolescent is wired that way, to always look for, if I hadn't done this or that, if I hadn't been this or that, then I could have avoided the wounding. It's just a natural outcome for the adolescent. And that has to be healed. It has to be resolved. It has to be addressed that the wounding was intentional.
yes, absolutely.
And the correlation that was made was faulty. And given that correlation was so strong, and that you used that for many years afterwards. No, I'm definitely not going to tell the truth. No, I'm definitely not going to be that vulnerable. We're not saying that it was that black and white, but in adolescence it probably was. But later on, you would have tested. Oh, can I be more honest if there's more love? Can I? Is it okay? Is it safe to be honest in certain environments and not in others? So you would have tested it. But we would like you to understand more deeply that this calls for restoration of something from the shadow. because it was related to your wounding. And when you chose not to be honest as an outcome of the wounding, there was a cost. There was some part of you, a light part of you that was put in the shadow that needs to be restored. And you're ready to do so more consciously. And so go sit with higher self and invite soul in, see the shadow come forward and say, I'm ready to have whatever I put down in the moment I decided I couldn't really be honest without harming myself. And just see what shows up. It's going to surprise you. Because it's not the honesty itself. You have the honesty. You have the ability to be honest or not honest, dishonest. But in the shadow is some treasure that the adolescent put down. I will never be able to be this or have this or do this. A dream of what could have been. And go and restore that in the adolescent. And then notice it is restored in you too. We believe there's a meditation recently where you can do that exercise.
Right. I mean, I mean, I've had such a panic about the thinking I can't forgive myself, doing some meditations and just coming
So
out
on that
feeling
note
everything.
about I'm not forgivable or I can't forgive myself, all of that, sit with the higher truth that the goddess has already forgiven you.
Right.
That means your higher self, your soul, your spirit, God and goddess, they have all forgiven you. So what's the holdout? What do you get by holding out? How does it protect you? The lesser self. Because when you really let in, I'm the only one holding out. As far as they're concerned, it's done. I'm forgiven. I have permission to move forward. So the only reason I would withhold forgiveness is if I decide it's not safe to change.
Mm.
And the only one who would be telling you that would be your lesser self, not you the more.
Right.
So here you are, quite aware of I'm on one side and I'm on the other. I'm in the future where I've let it go and I've received the forgiveness and I'm changing. And I'm on this side where it's not safe to change. This side has something that isn't a resonant match and yet has a treasure. If it persists, know there's a treasure to be restored. Some misunderstanding that needs to be healed or a shame that needs to be lifted, but you've already been doing that, so it's not that anymore. And we would suggest it's this shadow work of restoring what was set down.
Yeah.
What did I deny myself in that moment of pain? And let that energy come back into you.
Is that around passion, do you think?
Well, you have quite a bit of passion, but there might be some aspect of it. There might be some other aspect of vulnerability or intimacy or caring to look in that arena.
Yeah.
All right. We love you so. And
Thank
we
you
do
so much.
believe we have another two. Who's next?
Jessica.
Hi, Tara.
Yes, dear one.
So, I want to talk about some things about forgiveness, but I actually wrote and asked to speak this evening because I wanted to talk about gratitude, about how things have shifted for me. And then I got a
Wonderful.
letter from, yes, and then I got a letter from the lawyer today about some things that are not completed, and I just went back into this old place, which uh, I'm questioning just listening to some things if that's not about because I haven't forgiven myself. Um, and I'm really grateful. I left Texas. It was really hard. I left. It's behind me, and I'm wanting to just step into the future and let go of everything. But there's some incompleted legal things. Um, but I think I would love to hear something about forgiveness and some help about that.
All right. How wonderful that you so what shows up is unfinished business, even though you finished all your business. Something is calling your attention back to it. And so really the triggering event is more so whatever thoughts and feelings you had, oh, there's still more to do, or why can't they just get their act together and finish it? But we would suggest it's more along the lines of what Henry is dealing with, where you're being pulled to go inward to gather a gift that needs to be restored to you. So this last little bit of unfinished business is less about the illusion of the lawyer and the land and all that, and much more about what do I need to take with me energetically that I set down there. And so perhaps you've already done that reclaiming, but go one more time. And what's the youngest you were when you lived on that land?
Well, I was born in that town. And I actually didn't live on the most beautiful piece of land that we just sold. But my father bought that piece of land when I was 12. So
Okay, so
it's
that's the
connected
age
to
we
my
want you.
teenage years.
Yeah, we want you to look in that arena. Something about that age is there's something the you that lived and connected to the land then, and probably around the time of the wounding, to look to see, what did I set down? What am I ready to reclaim that needs to go to her first? And as a result, I'll get the benefit.
Uh-huh. So what needs to be claimed needs to go to her
Yes.
specifically.
Yes.
So I guess a question that came up for me is that, in leaving and getting away, it just feeling into all the feelings around how long I was stuck in such a screwed up story that in some sense kept me in and out of martyr all the time. And I'm feeling good about, okay, it's, maybe there's not everything's finished, but I don't feel so what felt like trapped in martyr, and it's about choice. And so I think it brought up all this stuff with me, like, does this mean that I'm stuck in martyr again? Or and I like some help about that, because that's
So
what comes to me
martyrhood,
about the forgiveness
yeah. So
also.
when you think of martyrhood, martyrs punish. So is there somebody that you're actively in your mind punishing and blaming for your lot in life, so to speak? If that's the case, that's martyrhood. Then oh, wait a minute. When I blame someone else, I'm abnegating responsibility for my illusion. I forgot I created it. I forgot that I gave them the script that they're writing, that they're reading back to me. So as you step back, give yourself a little distance. Sometimes it helps to play it on a movie screen, and you're the director, you're running the machinery, or even go back even further, where you're with the actors who are going to play out the script. You're handing them the script, and you wrote the script, and you're directing it, and you get really involved in doing it right. They have to read the words just right. Can't be just any words, got to be the ones that evoke those emotions, you see. So as you let yourself really see and put distance between the physical event and bring yourself back to, on some level, I wrote this script and I even told them how they should say it to me so that I would feel these feelings. And when I feel these feelings, I know something. I believe something. It's revealing my belief and my attitude. And those feelings and those thoughts, they're all tied together. And out of that, my choices and my decisions are dictated as well. So as you see the pattern of it, it's the pattern that needs to end.
And it feels like where I go with my thinking, with my pattern is, oh, here I go. I go to this place. I become a victim. I go into self-pity. I'm stuck in my anger. I'm definitely not in gratitude. And then I judge myself, and it just keeps looping round and round, and feeling like I'd stepped out of that. And I guess maybe in my mind, I guess I was also thinking while I was listening to other people, like, okay, so maybe this is also where my challenge point is, to say no.
Yes. Well, you're ready to put it down. You have put it down. We would suggest you've already, because you feel you left Texas and you feel the gratitude and you feel like, okay, I've finished. Then you get a letter that says you're not quite finished. Now, you have a choice to tell yourself, am I finished enough? Can I do this one last thing and be done? And you see, part of this pressure is, what does it mean to you that you're done with this chapter? Well, it's a demarcation of pain on one side and freedom on the other, perhaps. Or martyrhood and victim on one side and magician on the other. So,
Well, one thing, Tara, is I don't want to talk about this story anymore. That's
yes.
one of the things that comes up. And so then I also felt shame about, like, oh, I was so clear this morning that I was going to come on and just talk to you about all the gratitude for all the help. And even though, I could have a week ago talked about my story that it didn't go the way I wanted, or, whatever. But it's like, it's over. And here I am talking about it again.
And yet it is over.
Okay.
Yes, we hear it in your voice. Behind the
Mm,
words is that freedom, that sense of light, that lightness of being, no longer in someone else's energy.
mm-hmm,
That's the truth of the matter, is you have figured out how to delineate who you are and who the others are, in particular your sister, but others as well. So
mm-hmm,
as you have strengthened your boundary, this is who I am. And this is how I respond to things. And this
mm-hmm,
is what I think and feel. Has nothing to do with them, really.
mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that
That
make
helps.
sense?
That helps. Yes. That
Yeah.
helps me recenter. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And thank you so much for all the help, and to everyone here who's also been a part of it, that I feel a lot of support and
Yes.
help from. I really do feel gratitude about all that.
Yes, and we thank you for bringing the topic of the land that you love, really helping all of the group and us as well feel that love, that depth of love
Mm,
that is a part of allowing Earth consciousness to
mm,
become alive.
mm. Yes,
So
thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, we love you so. You're right on
Thank
track.
you. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right, and we believe Patricia is next.
Yes. Right.
Hi, Tara, can you hear me?
Yes, dear one.
Oh, okay, good. couple of things, lots of things, but I have a pattern where I only get 80% of what I ever want. And I have a pattern where I have to fix things. I want to fix things. And it's all martyr. And my little story is, oh, I've been so abused, so denied. Oh, poor me. And I overcome it. And look, I've created a life all on my own. Blah, 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 blah. It's a pattern. It's a little story. And I'm so tired of it. And I blame and I punish the people closest to me. And it doesn't feel good to do it. And then I beat myself up afterwards. And there are so many things in my life that have blown up in the last 5 weeks. So many losses. And yet there have been lessons behind the loss. But like things like, I just bought a car because my car totally died. It just died. And there was a lot of magic getting rid of it. But I thought the car I wanted is the one I bought, and I've had it now for 6 days, and I don't like it. And here I have this, and I had to figure out how I was going to pay for it. And Helen was talking about 0% or 1%. I'm like internally laughing, because there was no way I could get that. So it's always, so it's just, it's just nothing seems to be moving forward in an elegant way. And the car I bought cannot accommodate art material. So I am now in a position where I have to rent a van to get to an art show. And I'm sick and tired of doing art shows anyway. Just, I'm really in a really not positive place. And also, I have this constant cough I've had now for months, and it doesn't go away. And the sinus headaches have pretty much diminished, but then I had one the other night, and so I was laying there thinking about that, and I've taken all these antibiotics, and of course, that's not really working. And it just came to me with Lazara's help that the pain in my sixth chakra is about, what reality am I choosing? Where am I looking? Like, I should be grateful to myself that I have money to buy a car, but it's a huge amount of money relative to what I have. And I'm really angry at myself. I have the same tools that anybody else has to create a bountiful reality, where a financial total freedom, where I don't have to worry about, I'm going to get a new car. You know, I have the same tools anybody else has. I haven't done it. So I guess my question is, and there's been a lot. My brother died, and that is very painful. But then there are all these other things that have died too. My car died, my computer died, my art business is dying. So is it all martyr? I mean, just what is the next thing? You talked to me about working with my child. I've been working more with my child.
So, and you have done so. So that's not the answer today. Today, it's about working with creating a new future for yourself. You're systematically letting go of what's so right now, what doesn't suit you anymore. What are you bored with, or what doesn't excite you anymore? Your soul is urging you to grow, but what is next for you needs to be dreamed, needs to be designed. And so as you are, and certainly so with your brother passing, it's important to grieve. Grieving is a process. It's important to give yourself that time and space, and also commit to creating something new in your life at the same time. It's a bit of a paradox. Well, how part of you says, well, how can I be sad and grieving properly? And how can I be so excited about something new? I'm having trouble feeling those feelings of excitement.
Yeah.
And so we do suggest you compartmentalize the grief, where the higher truth is that your brother is free
Yeah.
of the physical plane, that is more real than the life he has left behind. Now, the gems are the relationship that you have with him, and that sense of belonging that he gave you. All of that, that's what you hold on to. And as you allow him to visit you from time to time with your permission, your higher self's permission, I want to experience my brother as he truly is, so that I can be at peace. That's part of the healing the grief cycle. And then from then on, you can choose whether he becomes one of your unseen friends more routinely or not. That is up to you. Now, as far as your new car and then being unhappy and it's not really what I thought it was going to be, so there's disappointment. It's important to know that you don't have to get it perfectly. That if you choose that car really isn't for you, you can create a reality where you create a different vehicle with harm to none, without any loss to you. Doesn't mean that it won't take some work, because you still have to define what you do want. But as you forgive yourself for not creating it as well as you wanted to the first time. See, that's part of the perfection is I did it again. I didn't do what I needed to do to get it perfect.
Right.
And that's a type of shame. So don't shame yourself as you ask your higher self to lift whatever shame that is, whether you put it there or somebody else put it there, doesn't matter. Just ask for it to be lifted so that you can feel at peace. Okay, this is what I chose. I still can evaluate. Now, the car dealer is not going to be interested in seeing you again without gouging you. So that might not be the best solution, although it could be. You never know. If your car is in high demand, you could create some magic there. But as you yourself evaluate, okay, I didn't really have enough time in the sales process, but now that I'm driving it, I need to decide, am I going to keep this? Or do I want to change it? And really let yourself know you have choice, you see.
Yeah.
As soon as you feel resigned, oh, it's a done deal. I'm the loser. I paid too much and I don't even like it. See, that takes you right down into self-pity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is oh so familiar.
Yeah.
But that's not true. The higher truth is that you have many choices. And the more choices you create for yourself in any situation, the more freedom you have, more power you have, the more self-awareness you have. And so always look for, what other choices do I have? And if I haven't yet created them, higher self, let's go about creating more choice. And that restores a lot of the energy that you feel has been lacking. So same with your business. My business, I rely on it. I need it to do what it is designed to do for me. But as you're saying, we're not really producing the same result anymore. And it becomes a question of, is this the way forward? And that is a topic of conversation to sit with your optimal future self and find out, what are you doing in that future? What is bringing your contentment? What is bringing your happiness? What is bringing your prosperity and your abundance?
Yeah.
Because if this is going to continue to be the business that supports you, you want to make sure that you're in alignment with doing that. And the reason we say that is only because you have shared in the past that you're thinking of doing something new. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just don't know what the new is.
Yes, and you can't know it yet. You are becoming. You are in the process of becoming something new. And so, yes, you're still going to do what you need to do to have this one work while listening and engaging with the optimal future self and your higher self and your soul and your spirit, and say, what is next? What can I make use of in my current business and evolve it? Or do I need to start brand new? We're not saying you do, but it's always a choice. The more choices you give yourself, the more powerful the choice you make will be. Does that help?
Yeah, and I've been with uh, different blockages along the way and different choices to make. And I can only think of one or two things. I'll just ask.
Yeah.
Tell me, what other possibilities are there? And inevitably, other solutions come up.
Yes.
And that has worked beautifully, easily, effortlessly. And new things come up, and there's always a solution. But I would like there to be bigger things, to be uh, more abundance, more gentleness and kindness, you know. And what about this coughing thing? And what about all these antibiotics? And I mean,
So the coughing we sense is more about grief. The lungs are often about grief.
yeah, you'd mentioned.
But as we've already spoken about what's possible there, as you reconnect with your brother at a more real level, we sense that cough will diminish. Now, there's also grief around how you're creating what you're creating. My car died. My brother died. Things are dying, whether I give them permission or not. And of course, you don't. You don't want them to die. You want them to continue to exist until you say so. But at a deeper level, things are being let go of. You're systematically cleaning house, so to speak.
Yeah, it's true.
You're releasing the illusion. Now, that doesn't mean that you killed your brother. You did not do that. He has his own soul's journey, and you are grateful for the time you did have with him and for the gifts that he gave you and you gave him. So as you stay in the gratitude around that relationship, that heals a whole lot.
Yeah.
As far as your vehicle goes, as we spoke last week about the image, how a car is often about image. How do you want to be? How do you want to move through your world? Does your new vehicle allow you to move more elegantly? Does it have the features you like? Does it have the presence and the for lack of a better word, the image that you like to portray to people? Is it a match for who you're becoming?
Interesting. I did a process of that Mary Short had talked about, where you list like 10 or 12 or whatever characteristics, and then you go through, you compare them. Is this the most important, or is that, and so forth. So I did that around the car, and the top one was reliability, but the second one was beauty. I wanted an elegant, beautiful car. And what have people told me about this car since I purchased it last Friday? Oh, you bought that? Oh, I had one of those and it went for 250,000 miles. And then other people in my neighborhood, friends and neighbors who've seen the car, oh, what a beautiful car. So I'm getting direct feedback about the two things that I said were my priorities.
Wonderful.
But it doesn't accommodate my art business.
How interesting.
No, it
And
doesn't.
as you ask higher self, what is happening with my art business that my car doesn't fit my art? What solutions are needed? As you say, maybe you rent a van, maybe somebody loans you their vehicle for those short periods, whatever. A lot of things creative solutions can come around that. Or a change in your art that you hadn't yet thought of
And I've been
as a
thinking,
possibility. Or maybe the vehicle needs to be changed, but it's going to depend on the future.
that my making paintings and selling them is not as an important thing. It's not big, it's not flashy, it's not, you know, it's not writing the great American novel. So why do that? And I think that's really a lesser part of me, my negative ego, my, you know, the part of me that just wants to feel sorry for myself and not actually do anything with my life. You don't want to do that, Pat. You don't want to do
So as
that.
far as your art goes, you've spoken about it with us in the past where the art flows through you.
Yes.
It's a state of communion.
Yes.
And as you enter that state, ask for the solutions to come. To ask for the imagery or the thoughts and feelings that give you the confidence that you are choosing the direction that you want to go. That's an important step for you, to have that vision in advance.
Yes. I get that. Thank you. That's really helpful.
So it's not the easiest answer, but you are capable of it, and you do it every time you work your art. And so therefore, if it takes just picking up a paintbrush or sitting with a pad and a pencil to just be in that state and then enter that communion state and then ask for the answers, can be very productive for you.
Yes, thank you. And I love to draw. I love it. And I haven't in a long time. So that would be a good place to start.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
All right. We love you so. You're right on track. All right. And so to each and every one of you who shared, thank you for your vulnerability. Such a beautiful discussion and common themes. Standing at that threshold, ready for change, already changed, and yet not sure, am I? what's this coming up to be resolved, to be handled, to be settled for once and for all. And just know that you must take your lesser self with you, but not the old patterns. The lesser self needs to be evolved and cannot do that alone. And so when you're feeling frustrated and that you're all alone, that's really the lesser self coming through saying, I need something more. I need a new sense of safety. All right. And so we go for now. We go with love and peace. Until next time, as we bring Katrina back, we go with love and peace.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.